The next Tier 5 raid boss. We don't know what it's going to be. It might be Latios and Latias. This is a clip from my Livestream SwagTips where I go over what the best counters to Latios and Latias are to help you prepare for the possibility that they might come out. Yeah, so Latios, Latias. The main things you want to know about them is that they're Dragon and Psychic type, not Dragon Flying. So because they're not Dragon Flying, that means Ice types aren't nearly as good in this fight. And because they're Dragon Psychic type, that invites Dark types and Bug types to counter them. So, and Ghost types. So you're going to see Tyranitar and like Pinsir, Houndoom, Caesar, they're going to show up to the fray to beat down on them. And another interesting thing about these two is that they have like the identical movesets. The main difference in moveset between these two Pokemon is that Latios has Solar Beam and Latias has Thunder. Right? Other than that, they are currently projected in the Game Master to have Zen Headbutt and Dragon Breath, and they have Dragon Claw and Psychic. Enough talking about them, let's get into the graphs. That's why you come to the Swag Man, right? So this is Latios. These are all the movesets averaged. So that's the Dragon Claw charge move, Psychic charge move, and Solar Beam. And with all the movesets averaged, it looks like all the dragons, every single dragon type, basically shows up to just wreck Latios. We got Rayquaza having the best DPS. You have Dragonite, very good DPS, slightly better TDO. You got Salamence, who's got, worse DPS than Rayquaza, slightly better DPS than Dragonite, but worse TDO than both of them. And then just for kicks, I included the Draco Meteor Dragonite, since, a lot of people have it and they might be unwilling to TM it because it's the special move and maybe it's powered up, they want to use it. Yeah, it's good. It's notably worse than the initial three, but it's still very good. It's better than Latios itself. And main quality that you need to know about Latios is that Latios isn't a great raid attacker. It's a great gymmer, but Dragon Claw isn't a great raid attack move. You want more like objectively powerful things like Outrage and Draco Meteor. So yeah, Latios, great for gymming, not so great for raiding, so it's the weakest dragon against itself out of the notable dragons. I'm sorry, Flygon and Altaria and Kingdra. Sorry guys. And then yeah, Tyranitar has some pretty good TDO here, but not as good DPS as the Dragon Boys. And then behind all this, you got Mewtwo Shadow Ball. So this is like all you really need to know for the fight. If you're curious, here's Articuno, doing worse than all of them. So the best shot for Ice type damage, Articuno sucks compared to the Dragons and Tyranitar and Mewtwo. And the main reason for this again is because it's a Dragon Psychic type Pokemon, not Dragon Flying, and Ice types in general aren't that very good of attackers. Like even Jinx, the high DPS one, is all the way back here in the back row, having less DPS than all these boys, as much DPS as these higher TDO ones. So, right, yeah, Ice types, if they're not getting that doubled up super effective damage in, then they're kind of meh. Like, I'm sorry, like, the facts are right here, spelled out. Sorry, Articuno. And because of the Psychic type damage that comes from these, and this being like average, Gengar isn't doing so hot. Yeah, he's part poison, doesn't like Psychic, has good DPS, but I mean, what are you gonna use? You're gonna use the Shadow Claw Gengar right here. You're gonna use that, or you're gonna use the much higher TDO, much higher DPS, Dragonite, Salamence, or Rayquaza, or like almost the same DPS, crazy better TDO Tyranitar. So yeah, these are the main focus units for the fight. If you already have a whole squad of Tyranitars and a bunch of Dragonites from, playing this game in the past, then you're good with just those. You don't really need Rayquaza. It's a higher DPS option, but Dragonite is basically on par with it. Now you're looking at this fight, and you're like, okay, Ryan Swag, these dragons are so good. You just talked about them ad nauseum, but what about the Dragon Claw moveset specifically? This is the Latios raid, once again, with just Dragon Claw. So this is the Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw moveset, no dodging, Latios. And you'll see that the Dragon types are still doing really good, it's just that their TDO has now taken a hit. So you might feel a bit more comfortable using Tyranitar if you know it's a Dragon Claw. But if you're going for that DPS, you want them bonus balls, go with the Dragons. This fight should be really easy. You should be able to clean it up pretty quickly, so you're safe with either option. And if you got the Shadow Ball Mewtwo, pretty good in-between option here. And yeah, if you remember my Grand Bowl content when we were having the Doggo event, against this particular moveset, these guys stand out really well, Granbull and Gardevoir. And if you got cloudy weather, I don't know what your state, your country, province, location is like, but here in Wisconsin, we get a lot of clouds, so I'm pretty sure I'll see cloudy weather frequently. And while I don't have it charted out on this graph specifically, in the Granbull content I do, yeah, Granbull is like kind of like here, and Gardevoir is like here too. So like Dragonite tier kind of DPS, but way better TDO against the Dragon Claw moveset exclusively, because these two bad boys, they got that immunity to resistance to Dragon, so that's awesome. And yeah, and kind of glazing over all the other options, because like, I mean, between these guys that I imagine everybody has, like Tyranitar and Dragonite above all else, what more do you need for this fight? When I get this up on YouTube, I'll have an album of the graphs for you guys, so you can pick over this a little bit more closely. This is Latios, this isn't Latias. This is Latias, the female iteration of Latios. Main difference is that it's red, and it has the attack and the defense stat inverted. So in general, this is going to be a harder raid to fight, because against a raid boss, the defense stat and the move set is the main indicator for difficulty, not so much the attack stat. But as far as being a gymming generalist or a raid attacker, Latias is going to take a even bigger step back from the other dragons. It might have some high TDO kind of niches. You see that it has a high TDO niche against itself here. But beyond that, you're probably going to want to use the other dragons above it. Sorry, Latias, welcome to Pokemon Go. Another difference that Latias has compared to Latios is instead of Solar Beam, it has Thunder. And because it has Thunder, not Solar Beam, Tyranitar takes a pretty big step forward now. Tyranitar has that immunity to resistance to Psychic type moves. Tyranitar does not care about the Dragon Claws. And Tyranitar isn't weak to Thunder like it is Solar Beam. So its TDO takes a huge step up. Actually, thinking about it, that's probably why Latias is up here too. Against the Solar Beam set, the Latios only has a single resistance, where these dragons are dragon flying, so they have an immunity to resistance, so their TDO is a bit better, and having a high TDO also helps out with your DPS. And against this fight, it's got the Thunder. These dragon flying types take neutral hits from it, but Latias actually gets a resistant, so that's probably the main influence here for its TDO being so great. Another reason why Groudon's stepping up with its Dragon Tail Earthquake set, I thought that was pretty interesting and unique, since like Kyogre was like heralded to be this great like dragon slaying pseudo ice type Pokemon with its Dragon Tail set, but then it lost it. And a lot of people are like repping Kyogre for the Lati-twins raids, like I've been seeing online, and I'm like, guys, you do know that they resist the waterfall, and that Kyogre's not even a good option against Rayquaza, and that Blizzard doesn't have a doubled up super effective damage, they're just single dragons. So gonna wait for that culture to hit, that Groudon is a better Dragon Slayer than Kyogre against Latias. Interesting. So yeah, and so you notice here that all the counters are basically the same, and Dragon Claw, you're gonna see the same kind of scenario. You know, the dragon types taking a step back, everything else taking a step forward, especially the fairy types. Because they have the same counters and it's like effectively the same raid, I actually made a graph that merges them together. I think it's fun since these two are commonly associated with each other, same type, basically the same moveset except for one difference. So if you want to power up a team of Pokemon or get a team ready to just take these guys on all together, then these are the picks that work out for both of them very well. So yeah, overall, Tyranitar, higher TDO option, the dragons, high DPS, Mewtwo, in between. I mean, it's basically the same thing I just said, except now they're merged. So it's almost exactly the same raid, the Lati-twins. So, the Lati-twins, will they be our next raid bosses? Well, knowing Niantic, they'd probably do like a split the world kind of thing. You know how, Solrock, Lunatone, Plusle, Minun, they're together now. They weren't. So Viper, Zangoose. So we're probably going to see something like that when they come out, which is going to be kind of disappointing. It's going to have like kind of the Raikou Suicune effect, where, you know, the part of the world that has Raikou, they're like, heck yeah, and then the part of the world that has Suicune is like, why am I raiding? I want Latios. So, kind of lame. 1 month of swag and then 1 month of waiting for the next raid boss. I already got that dex entry. But yeah, as attackers, both Latios and Latias are great. They'll probably have their own unique niches here and there. But as dragon types overall, I'd say they're behind the other dragons we already have. Dragonite, Salamence, Rayquaza. So very tough competition for them to stand out. 2 months of the same exact thing. And I mean, if they do the split and swap, it's going to be 2 months of the same exact thing. So like, stale meta, right? But yeah, if you think that's bad, the Regis aren't that much better. So that was a clip from my live stream SwagTips. SwagTips streams every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time. This clip went over Latios and Latias raids. I have another part coming up soon where I go over the Regi trio, and I also give a little light analysis on Deoxys. So if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips so you can catch that video. And if you like this video, then hit the like button. And if you got any questions, or if you want to see me do something else and analyze some other raid boss, then comment below. Let me know. SwagTips. Enjoy.